Hi guys, I'm Mr. Shiver, the middle school science teacher for 7th and 8th grade, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about Science Fair. It's Science Fair time as of September 28th, and I'm very excited for everybody to participate in the Science Fair this year. Once again, if you go to the school's website and go to the parents section in the forums, at the very bottom is the Science Fair guidebook. And so you probably want to download that or at least read it to make sure that you know all the expectations and the forms and et cetera that you need to fill out to do a science fair project properly. But after that, it's up to you to decide on what you want to do. And if you're in the middle school, you need to do an experiment. We'll talk about that in a second. And if you're in the younger grades, not middle school, you can do an experiment or you can do some sort of science report. You can do a collection where you kind of show off some various cool science things like seashells and talk about how electromagnets work or all kinds of cool stuff. Or you can just do kind of a general report about the planets or atoms or anything like that. Anything that's exciting to you, you should go ahead and do that as a science fair project. But if you're doing an experiment, it's a little more involved because you have to actually find something that you're going to test. I want to see what happens if I do this, how it will change something else. An example would be if you drop a ball on the ground and it bounces up. Well, what if I drop it higher? What will it do? That's all an experiment needs to be. Something I want to change something, and I want to see how it responds and result to that. So to give you an example, some things that might spark your interest or get your curiosity going, I'm going to do a little set of kind of demonstrations for you. And I'm not going to tell you the answer ultimately. You're going to have to find me out to see what you think. But what I've got here is I've got some liquids that you might be able to see on my table here. And all of these liquids, if I hold them up, are going to look the same. They're going to maybe look like what you would call water. So clear and colorless, and they're liquid, and they slosh around. Okay? But only one of these is water. And I'm going to let you guys see if you can figure out which one it is. So first off, we're going to be safe. We're going to put on our safety gear. I'm going to put on my goggles and my gloves. And we're going to look at these one at a time. So I'm going to step behind my counter here for just a moment. Actually, I think I can do it from here. So the first up is this one here. This liquid here. Again, could be water. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a very common object, just a rock. Kind of rock you might find in gravel driveways. So it's actually called limestone. And I'm going to place it inside the thing that we think might be water. And if you put a rock in water, you probably know what's going to happen, right? So let's put that in there and, that's interesting. What's it doing? It looks like it's bubbling and fizzing, and you might not be able to tell, but there's actually a little bit of smoke coming out of the top of that there. So what do you think? Could that be water? Well, let's move on. I've got another one here. For this one, I need a little bit of fire. So if you're going to, do something like this, you got to make sure you have someone helping you out. Be smart about it. We're going to light some sterno on fire here. You might not be able to see that that's on fire, but hold on. You might be able to see the flames coming off that. Put our goggles back on, our gloves, and we're going to look at this liquid right here. So again, looks like water, doesn't it? But I'm going to take something very precious to many of you. I'm going to take some money, in fact $10. And I'm going to put it inside this liquid. And we'll get down in there and you'll see that not much appears to be happening. We'll go ahead and get it all good and wet there. Not much. So far so good. That could be water. Well, let's see what happens if I take this $10 bill and I put it near my fire. Okay, so here we go. If I put it near the fire, you'll see that there it goes. It burns, but only for a second. Now it is out. My bill is actually safe. So it burned just for a little bit, but now it is out. If I put it back in the fire now, it might actually catch on fire and stay on it. I don't want to burn up a $10 bill. So we'll go ahead and turn that off. So what do you think? Could this be water? I don't know. All right, for my next one, we got our liquid here. Yeah, it could be water. We're going to find out. And I'm going to pour it into this styrofoam cup. So, if you put water in a styrofoam cup, not much happens, right? So let's see if that happens with this one. Put that in there. Uh-oh. That's weird. Look what's happening to my cup. It is dissolving, and now you can't even see it. It's just a puddle of what used to be styrofoam on top. Could that be water? I don't know. Back for our last one. We got some stuff here. Again, could be water. And in this one, I've got a little piece of metal. Here it is. A little chunk of metal. Silvery, just like you'd expect most metals to be. We're going to drop that in our water, and we'll see what happens. So if you listen, you can hear it sizzling. It formed a big lump on there. And it's smoking. The metal is actually getting smaller and smaller. And look, the water is actually turning a little bit of pink color there. That's a little weird. So, which of those is water? And I guarantee one of them actually is. One of these four things was really water. And I'm not going to tell you which one it is, because that's going to be up to you. Maybe do a little research, ask some questions. Or if you see me in the hall, you can ask me. But one of these really was water. And it's going to be surprising to you, I guarantee. So if you like that kind of stuff, if that sounds fun to you, if you want to do some investigations about what kind of different chemistry things happen, you can do some research in the library, on the internet, find out something that really sounds cool to you, and maybe you can turn that into a report or an experiment. So again, I hope you do a science fair experiment. It would be great. I would love to see all as many experiments as we possibly could there. On the 17th of November is when they're all due. So you have a little more than a month to work on these. So get out there, get excited, do some sort of experiment, and I hope to see your experiments at the science fair. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope you enjoyed. For those of you who just absolutely can't wait, I'm going to let you off the hook here. So you wait a few seconds, you've waited, you've stuck it out through the credits. Here's what we had, all right? This material here, the first one, is still fizzing now, by the way, all right? This was a typical reaction that you get from when you mix hydrochloric acid with carbonate rock, which would be like limestone. So a simple test to see if a rock contains limestone is to put this kind of acid on it. And so you can see it happens, it fizzes and bubbles. It actually makes kind of a smell, what you guys are going to get here. And the water starts to turn, or the acid in this case, starts to turn kind of a cloudy color as the rock dissolves. Now, let the rock sit there long enough, the rock will completely eat away and be gone. The stuff in this beaker that made the dollar bill light up and on fire for a moment is actually a type of alcohol with a little bit of water in there just to kind of cut it down. That's why the bill didn't catch on fire. So the alcohol burned off of the bill, and the water part of it kept the bill safe. So this was a little bit of water in here, but it's mostly a type of alcohol. You got to put on a cut or a scrape. The material that, so again, this is actually ethyl alcohol. This is the kind of alcohol we use. The material that dissolved the styrofoam cup is definitely not water. That material was acetone, a type of solvent, and it dissolves plastics. And so that people use that to try to maybe if there's like paint thinner and things along that line. And what happens to the styrofoam cup is that all the air pockets in there dissolve out, and you're left with just this plastic goop here. That's all that's left of the styrofoam cup. So it's still there. It didn't completely go away. It just turned into its basic regular plastic without all the air pockets that makes it so light and fluffy. So it didn't really dissolve it, just maybe the air pockets go away. So that was acetone. So lastly, we had, this was the water, believe it or not. You know, it's kind of pink colored now. The metal I put inside of it, here's what the trick was. The metal I used was sodium. Sodium is a metal. It's hard to find it in regular metal form. Usually it's mixed with chlorine to form what we call salt. But if you have pure sodium, it reacts with water to release smoke, and it turns the water slightly basic, which is the opposite of an acid. And there was already another chemical, I guess, from a previous reaction that turned it pink, which is the type of indicator solution. So if you pink this, let me know that it's basic. And sometimes sodium will actually explode when it gets in water. So today we just saw it kind of fizzle and pop. But sometimes you put it in water, it will actually burst into flames. But that does that just with water. So that was the water, was the one that had the metal in it. So if you guessed that one, good for you. If you're curious about what other metals actually will react with just plain water, again, go on the internet or get in the library and do some research. But there are all kinds of metals that, when they get wet, do interesting things besides just rust like steel. So I hope you had fun watching, guys. Thanks for your attention, and good luck with your science fair projects.